South Sudan, oye! South Sudan, oye!
تتم لنا معنويات تسلمونا نظيف امسح اكسح قشوا ما تجيبوا حي
A pregnant woman was wounded and it was killed just near here, and she is now dead. And this is all the blood, this is all the meat is here.
This trip has meant a lot to me personally. I was the UN chief, the resident humanitarian coordinator of the UN system some 7-8 years ago. And I've not been back to this region. To come back and visit the Nuba Mountains area and the surrounding territory of South Sudan after so long reconnected me and made me remember all the things that had gone on in the past and how this continues today. We just passed a pickup truck on the top of which was an RPA a soldier with a 12.7 caliber machine gun, clearly coming back from the front line to rest and recuperate. And
we're pretty close to the front line.
So we are close to the front line now, and it's a front line that is very porous with people going backwards and forwards, particularly the soldiers of the SPLM North, who no doubt are pressing against the Khartoum forces wherever they can as the fighting continues. Assalamu alaikum. When did they arrive from Nuba?
Yeah, they come from October.
Oh, from October?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Are you getting enough food to eat?
They said that gas is not enough.
Not enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you came from Nuba, you were pregnant, you had the baby inside you. How did you come? Did you walk or with your 5 children?
Yeah, they come
On foot?
Yeah.
With the little children?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were just entering Yida, and this is the first collection of refugees we have seen. A couple of hundred women and children, perhaps more. Only women and children, because the men appear to be back in the Nuba. All of them have got identical stories. That is, they came here over the last 4 or 5 months, that they came after walking for several days, and that they fled fighting, with Antonovs bombing them and soldiers attacking their houses, destroying them. They were very afraid and they ran away. Some of them were pregnant when they came across, and here they are, they're resting. They have very little news from home, but they all hope to go back one day. And here what we have is a child health station for supplementary nutrition for the children. So the children all here are receiving nutritional supplements, fortified food, biscuits and so on. Water is in very short supply here. Clearly, when the rains come, diseases like malaria, diarrhea and so on are going to increase within a matter of a month or so. Here we are, well inside South Sudan, and a few meters from the women and children distribution point we've just come from. And what we have here is an air raid shelter dug by the people themselves. Khartoum has been bombing. In fact, one of the relief workers was describing to us how the ground shook when the bombs landed about 2 or 3 days ago near where the refugees were. Can you imagine crawling down there with your 1-month-old baby, as we saw just now, and just rushing in with the Antonovs coming just above. And we're told that they come quite low, or they have been. These are crimes against humanity. You know, we're not hearing anything in the media other than general reports. There's no human face to this. But when you sit down with these pregnant mothers and in the ground, and you see there's a very, very real human story here. Let's go. Fast. Yeah. So here we are now in Yida after our first overnight here. And we would like to go, if we can, to the border in Yao, where the fighting was taking place a few days ago. Also, our vehicle is too white. So if we do go, it'll have to be covered in mud and camouflaged because the Antonov bombers are still reportedly doing their business up there. As we're driving through, everything is deserted because there were people living here, and when the fighting started, they ran away either to Yida refugee camp or into Nuba. Especially the women and children who were trying to survive. And this is the terrible thing about this war, that it's the civilians and the vulnerable women and children who are the first and greatest casualties. And I think that if the international community cannot help protect women and children and civilians, then I think we should let the people of the Nuba and the fighters of the Nuba get on with looking after their own citizens.
We're okay? We can...
Vi kan komma ifrån kommando vid filmen.
Please explain to us what happened here. Civilians were living.
Yeah, here, they are living here.
Okay.
The enemies came and attacked them here, you know, from this side. They attacked them,
here, we know is bombing. They bomb these houses. Even they kill some civilians here, and then the civilians run.
So are the civilians now coming back?
Yeah, they're not coming back. They're
Okay.
not coming back to the places.
Shall we talk to them?
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum. What is your name?
Or Shalim.
Actually, yeah. When did you run to the bush?
Since May, we were just running.
Since May?
Up, yes.
Okay.
and down.
Yeah. Okay. Where is your family? How many children?
أسرتي وين؟
They're still in the bush. Are they getting food?
لأن تلقوا أكل؟ There's no food.
No food.
They attack us by the ground attack. وتاني.
بأسلحة تاني.
The airplane,
Aeroplane.
the tanks.
Okay.
Were people killed and injured? Ask this lady.
Yes. People, they were killed and injured.
So here's a tank recently destroyed in the fighting that allowed this the SPLA Duba-led fighters to take back control of this area after the Sudanese forces attacked and cleared out all the civilians. And you can see right there the destroyed houses.
They kill the civilians and take them away with them.
Okay. And only the Sudan government forces have both aeroplanes and tanks.
Okay. They came just through through Kharasana. Yeah.
Where?
They came through Kharasana.
Now,
Yeah.
you can hear.
Yeah.
That's an anthem of noise.
Oh yes,
They bombed that
it is.
area since morning. As they have seen now, people there are running. When they show antelope, then people all they run to the mountains. They run and hide themselves under the rocks.
The women we were just talking to a few seconds ago around the water well, they've disappeared. There's no one there because they've run off as soon as they heard the antelope, which we can hear now, even as I speak to you.
Let's look inside here. Let's go inside.
Okay.
So they've destroyed the food stocks, they've destroyed the whole house.
Yes.
The civilians have fled.
They-
Now, this is a crime against humanity.
Yes.
So this is the smoke from Antonov attacks yesterday. And what they do is in this dry weather, when the firebomb basically sets off fires. And they're still running 24 hours later. I mean, this is something we hadn't heard of. I hadn't quite realized this. The Darfur genocidal violence happened in 2003 and 4 because we chose to close our eyes, even though evidence was mounting that terrible things were going on there, because it was an inconvenient crisis at that time. So it is now in the Nuba region, where the Nuba crisis now appears to be inconvenient against a backdrop of other crises like in Syria, in Afghanistan, and so on. And unfortunately, the Nuba people, who have always paid the price in their marginalized existence of wider strategic questions, are continuing to pay the price now. So here we are arriving in Tajit, which was taken by the SPLA just 4 or 5 days ago after some heavy fighting, and we've seen the evidence of that as we came in. We are now well inside the Nuba territory in Sudan, in South Kordofan province. What happened to the people?
الحصل شنو المواطنين؟
والله مواطنين طبعا بيدقوا بالتعيرات always بيدقوا ببومباردمنت مواطنين فروا هسه في الجبال.
They were always bombarding these areas by airplane. Most of the people, or all the people, they moved inside the cave, inside the
mountains.
So these are Sudan government landmines,
Yes.
which anti-personnel mines, which you captured when you took control.
This is Iranian.
Yeah. Oh yes, you can see the Iranian language.
Iranian language,
Yeah.
We got this landmine in the mountain. It has been placed by the Khartoum regime, and even some civilians have been affected by this landmine.
Yeah.
So you put the detonator in here,
and
then you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And then somebody steps on it.
Steps on it. It closes the box and sets. It's a very simple thing.
But you know, this is against the law. Sudan has signed the anti-personnel landmine treaty. So this is government of Sudan in Khartoum is committing an international crime in using landmines. And what we have heard and seen around here is that hundreds of mines like this one in my hand, have been planted around the houses in the neighborhood, placing ordinary people, civilians, mothers, children, animals at risk. This is a crime. This is a war crime.
War crime.
War crime. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen this orange thing? This orange thing.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the bombs which brought by this regime yesterday. If you touch it now, it will just go.
Oh, these are cluster munitions.
Wow.
These are cluster bombs. Wow.
Which are also illegal. It's like anti-personnel landmines.
2 young boys, 14 years old, they touch these things because they saw it just look like nice and they can play on it. When they touch it, they just when they kill 2 of them. Right here, yeah.
Of course, in any fighting, terrible things happen to civilians because they get caught up in the fighting. But there is no question that the military strategy of the Khartoum regime deliberately targets civilians, deliberately attacks families, mothers, children, their food, water, means of living, surviving, and the way of life. No other party does that. Therefore, the responsibility for the atrocities, the crimes against humanity in Darfur, ongoing in Nuban now, and in Blue Nile, rests squarely on the shoulders of Bashir's government and the other senior leadership in Khartoum. They must be brought to justice. They must be arrested, brought to The Hague, and tried. No amount of statistics can convey the terror of the people which they live from day to day, hour to hour, day and night, week after week. We saw fear, we saw hurt, we saw desperation in the eyes of these people. But at the same time, one's also been impressed by the resilience and the determination. For these people, too much blood has been spilled already. For these people, too much suffering has already been endured. For them, there is no way other than to resist, go forward, and continue to confront the evil that has been visited upon them by the Khartoum regime.
Yeah, I can see.
You can see him.
Yeah, very, very high. Yeah. Why they are targeting the civilians and the innocent people? Why? Where can we get the answer? Why they are targeting us? Is there anybody hearing us and knowing the way we are struggling now? Where the international community? Where the human rights? Just send it all over the world. Let everybody in this world to know that the Nubians are suffering.